welcome to another edition of Clarity Jams. Today I'm sitting down with Alexander to dive into his website's messaging. We're breaking down his customer success page, exploring what's working, what's missing, and how to turn it into a conversion powerhouse. If you've ever wondered how to make your site instantly clear, credible, and compelling, you're going to love this one. Let's get into it.
Hey there, I'm Alexander Ferguson, a founder at TeraLeap, and we're focused on scaling credibility through customer stories and expert stories.
Awesome. Super excited to collaborate with you on this video. And basically the whole purpose of this video is to kind of have a little bit more deep dive into one specific page on a website, in this case on TeraLeap's site. And then hopefully they give you a little bit of clarity around, maybe something could be punched up or even just some things that are just going really well. So I always find that being able to learn from real examples is oftentimes a lot better than just the theoretical, than just the theories. So if we want to
Seeing
get
something
right
real
into it,
is always good.
I am going to share my screen. So for the first person who might be looking at this for the very first time, tell me a little backstory about what kind of is the purpose of this page on the TeraLeap site.
Yeah, this page is to really unpack this concept of customer videos, the how they can, why you want them, the purpose of them, and the role that they'll play, and how easy it is to be able to get them. Obviously, if you work with us and be able to scale that up.
Awesome. I see a couple of things that immediately draw my eye that I think are kind of interesting, and I wanted to get your take on this. One, I kind of see the demo is automatically playing. Cool. I also see this thing at the bottom, which I'm guessing is like a chatbot. Can you even tell me a little bit behind what that chatbot does and what's the desired goal behind
Yeah, it is a video powered engagement tool, so you can kind of choose your own adventure type of thing. And actually, I'll start talking now. And the whole idea is to kind of see what they're most interested in, walk them through a process, and take them to either a contact form or different content. We help.
That's super cool. I don't think I've actually ever seen that technology used in this way before. Do you mind me, just out of curiosity, how did you build it? And or is it custom? Is it just a software? I'd love to hear a little bit more.
Yeah, it's using Video Ask as the software tool behind it. We actually love it. It does a lot of different things. You can create a very complicated funnel with multiple points, or just very simple. I like it because it's video first, and the whole idea is you can show the people behind the brand on it versus some other options out there where it's all just text based. But yeah.
Awesome. A couple other things I noticed. One, just like a really small UX thing. This scroll bar is kind of hard to see.
Mm.
You kind of get stuck. I don't necessarily know if that's probably maybe a video ask thing, but maybe you might want to look into that. Again, super small. And I'm just going to see there's definitely 3 different options, and I'm guessing these are tied to kind of your core ICP. So you have one that's like, I want video customers for your business. I'm assuming that is your ICP. And if it's I'm an agency or consultant, maybe there's a referral partner there.
Yep.
And that last one, I believe, says I may have a specific question and need the answer. That seems really well thought out. Is that kind of accurate based on what you're looking for?
Yes, though I probably it is time for refinement of those options. And how can we help? It's good to know about the scroll bar. That is a function of a video ask that I don't really have control over, but potentially if I change how the background or some other things, I can make that pop more.
I love it. And I realized as you were talking, your video ask of you was also talking at the same time.
Too
Um,
many of me.
Love it. I just want to, I was just kind of clicking ahead, and it looks like there's kind of 4 different options. Schedule a call. That makes sense. And I'm assuming that just goes to your Calendly or something like that. See our
Correct.
process page, explore a result. And the last one is submit a question.
Quick call with that.
Is that accurate?
Yes. Yeah. Submit a question.
Oh, cool. And then it literally just goes right there.
Go ahead. And that should, just take you to the landing page. Yep.
Very cool. See, that just seems really cool, and I just wanted to kind of call that out because I haven't actually seen it done in this way. It seems really thoughtful. Are you actually seeing kind of a noticeable uptick from the pages that have this on your website versus just the normal schedule call button?
No. Sorry for all that excitement and then leading to the answer of no. And that's why I think it needs probably refinement, and maybe it'll a different answers or prompts could potentially get there. But for the majority of leads, they don't come through that one.
Well, just out of curiosity, where does kind of the majority of people kind of land on your website, and at what place are they? Or just clicking the testimonial request guide, scheduling a call?
Yeah, most folks when they're ended up booking a call, they're going to schedule a call. We also have a separate like book a discovery call based off of some campaigns. They go directly to that landing page, and those or the page that we send them to already has um a calendar link already embedded on that.
Awesome. And is really kind of then you're an H1 on this page. It seems kind of your big selling point is speed. And like you're selling a little bit fast, but you're also selling kind of a bit faster than anyone else. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that has been our kind of core focus of or selling point up to this point is making it faster and easier to get these customer video content created.
Yeah. And tell me a little bit more about who kind of your best customers are.
Majority of our customers are small, lean marketing teams at tech and software companies, where they need to be able to scale their video customer content. They just don't have the resources. They don't have the skill sets and a huge budget, like to send out crews on location everywhere. And so they're looking for something that is efficient and gets the job done, but still looks on brand and is quality.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just trying to scroll down your page. I kind of see testimonials as your super slip. Um, and if you're looking for speed on this, I know you have a process page, but do you kind of hint at your process for how it is somewhere on this page as well? If this is kind of the dominant page?
This is the main dominant page. You're right. It may not be very visible of okay how fast we say it, but you're like be able to see it. So that main section, the circle there, it shows the process, but maybe that actually doesn't even really communicate how fast it is in there. You're right.
That might be something to kind of consider. Like I love the diagram, but like it's basically kind of saying engage or edit and showcase. Maybe if there's a way to just communicate just like exactly how fast it is and how hands if you're working with a lot of lean teams, I can definitely relate to that.
Mm.
Um, maybe just kind of convey just how much of it like you and your team take over versus, it's less of a friction point for them to go along.
That's a great feedback. One of the things we always hear from our customers when we're doing our own customer interviews, because obviously we're a fan of it and do it, is the turnkey and like done for you. So probably this visual doesn't communicate potentially as much as it could or should on that element. Hmm.
I mean, if you're definitely wanting to tie into that illustration style, it definitely works. But maybe just kind of finding it just a little bit could go very well. Something else that might go a long way that could just kind of further prove just how fast it is there's a lot of text right here. And it sounds like pretty much any other SaaS tool out there. Like I feel like everything is talking about conversion rates, trial engagement, increased revenue. Yeah. Testimonials do all of those, but maybe you just like consolidate that so it almost feels like right now, it to me, and I'm guessing to a lot of your ICP as well, just kind of feels like it's there and almost like doing you a disservice given how personalized everything else is.
Wow. It's noise. Text noise. That's a
Uh,
great point.
I mean, it's great. Like the video is so good, the CTAs are so good, and your H1 is compelling. I could maybe argue that having the word trust building without having social proof right there might be hurting you a little bit, but like the rest of this is so compelling that like that almost don't even.
Can you unpack the trust? You suggesting to that it shouldn't be there? Just say get customer video.
Um, this is maybe a little bit more a pet peeve that I've picked up, and I've also sort of noticed it from just looking at a lot of other landing pages that oftentimes the word trust can almost like do a disservice. Like, yes,
Really?
testimonials do that just because it gets overplayed if you don't have a ton of social proof. Because then that happens like, oh, like it's kind of using the words like authentic. and or trust can fall into that same way where it's like it almost does it can do the opposite if you don't actually if you're not really intentional.
Interesting. So a stronger H1, you would say, is just to remove that completely?
You might want to split test it, but
Okay.
I honestly it would actually be a little bit maybe a little bit stronger to be get customer video testimonials by faster.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then you let your demo and maybe you have one sentence right below it instead of having three that just
Yep.
kind of sound like a generic. Those three just make it seem like a generic SaaS website.
Right. And we're
I
not a
think when you
generic
have such a
SaaS.
clear CTA, you have such clear CTAs and such a good demo and a good H1. This is like almost probably if I were to look at your like heat map or look at your Google analytics, my guess is this is probably hurting you more than it's helping.
Wow. Okay. Sweet.
But what do you think?
I think it's a spot on. I have heard this concept at three reinforcing points near the top section is helpful. But your point of the 3 points that we do have are the generic things that I mean, it does do it, but it doesn't actually add anything new that people are like, okay, yeah, obviously it does that.
And not to kind of overplay on trust building, but when I see trust building and then I see generic points like that, it almost makes me like, is it really building trust? Or is it just the same boilerplate copy you see on most SaaS websites?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That said, I do love the scrolling bar for all of your social media for like customers. I don't know if you can do this, but like it might be cool to potentially have a link to a case study for each of those logos.
Well, we do. If you go to the results page, we have all like videos for all of them for the majority of them and landing pages. So you're right. I like that idea of being able to. I should link to that. Okay, good
Great.
one.
Yeah. If you, I will just like link to those directly on that page. Um, and that could be an interesting way to kind of just subtly just showcase, hey, these are not just generic logos. These are actually, case studies that we have. Um, Smart use with how you're using kind of the each one that's flipping between a couple of different ones. Schedule a call, get testimonials. I'm assuming these are, can you click into these? It says quality saves time, gets results, simple process, clarification.
I'm planning on swapping that out. We test that for a little while because they are videos behind each one, but you don't know they are, and it's meant to communicate information without even clicking on it. But they are video testimonials on each of well. With a larger.
Yeah, that's sorry, I didn't mean. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, I was gonna say each of those are a highlight video of three different customers communicating that concept. But I don't think visually you realize potentially some of that they are videos. So that is something we need to change too.
Yeah, I would agree with that. As you probably decide, whether we didn't even realize you can click on it as a video. I thought it was kind of cool imagery, and then I clicked on it, and then immediately interrupted. You were talking, so I apologize.
Yeah, it's all good, all good.
But I like the design. Maybe even just having like a play logo on top of it might.
Hmm.
Because the images are great. Similar to this design, maybe tighten up this copy just a little bit to really just kind of spell out exactly why businesses that aren't building brand credibility with testimonials was out. This is fine. Probably could be tightened just a little bit. And then cool testimonial guide, more social proof. Dig it. Obviously, being that you sell video testimonials, having a lot of testimonials of your own probably just reinforces that even better. Yeah. Any other? Oh, and then one other just really small thing. Change your boilerplate
Oh,
to 25.
good catch. Thank you.
Any thoughts?
This, as I mentioned earlier, we haven't actually touched this in almost a year now, and so this is definitely worth a time to make some changes. So this is good insight, in particular the top section. I think you're the trust building. Obviously, it is core to video testimonial, but when it gets overused, when language is like, okay, yes, that's trust, then it loses its value and importance. One word we started to switch towards because it's not used as frequently is credibility. And one of our new things that we've been working this year has been scaling credibility, not just content. What are your thoughts on that of a language that isn't one we normally use? Does it still capture and pull in, or do you think it doesn't have the same strength that we're intending?
That's a really good question. I'm gonna ask it before I answer it. I actually have another question to ask, which is when aren't you kind of? I'm assuming you're probably already doing this, but are you using like a note taking app with AI to kind of interview all your customers to kind of get all your customers? And if so, why or how do they refer to it? Are they saying trust? Are they saying credibility? Are they saying something else?
They don't use they say trust. Trust is definitely one. There was a couple that have used the word credibility, but it's not a common term. Testimonial videos is just like what people usually describe it and give that language. But it's like being able to clearly communicate uh the value without it seeming like what everyone else is using. That's where I'm hitting a little bit of a stone wall there.
Totally. I would say in general, if your best customers are not saying credibility, then you might end up trying to get a little bit too fancy. There's definitely a real risk I always see where it's like you want to be clarity of your cleverness,
Yes.
extremely important. So if your customers aren't saying the word credibility, then maybe don't say it. And obviously, like the best copywriting is literally just parroting back what your customers are saying about you, but just in a slightly more clear way. So I maybe explore different ways to say it. Like trust might not be the right word. Credibility doesn't sound like it is, but maybe there's something else. Like, mining your customer interviews and or mining just your meeting notes with customers can often kind of service that.
I love it's an excellent point, and it's like we heard it at least across 3 customers, and then we have a customer advisory board, and we presented this language to them, and they all latched onto it. They resonated with it, and like, that is why we use it. We like that. So we will probably continue to test it, but you're right. What we need to continue doing is A/B testing with that against more plain language and terminology that can be used elsewhere.
And to even just add on to that, because a lot of A/B testers, if anyone's watching this, are going to get on that case. You don't even have to do like official A/B testing. I don't know how much I don't know how much traffic you get on your website, but it can literally just be, try out something for a month, see how it goes, and then if it goes better, just revert it to see about it. If it goes worse, revert it back to what you had before.
Yeah.
As opposed to like true A/B testing,
That I
which
like that.
really doesn't necessarily officially work unless you have like a million people on that.
And, when you're a smaller firm, a company, and you're trying to grow, you don't generally have tons and tons of traffic to be able to do that. So it's like you make the best educated test and decision you can. Another tactic I've seen folks do, and I've done it a couple times, is if you have a little bit of budget, a LinkedIn ad or a Facebook ad or something with two different of those different languages, whichever gets the most clicks through it is one way to test that engagement.
Yeah, absolutely. You can even do the same thing, even more low budget with the cold email.
Yep. Yeah. Cold email. See, what gets the best open rates and click-throughs on that for sure.
Try it with different subject lines. Have your H1 be your subject line or that first click within the email. That's another way you can do that.
I like it. I like it.
Awesome. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, so for you, when you're looking at being able to create a campaign of content, what's your check what are the things that you kinda go through your head and your process of, "All right, if I'm gonna launch a new campaign of content, I've got a landing page, we've got social copy, and I've got, maybe video assets and other things." What are the things that you're looking to make sure that you've got all the I have to be careful to say all the boxes checked because I know Brendan Hufford hates the idea of checkbox marketing. But what are your things that are like, all right, these things I have to make sure are done and are part of it to make sure that this campaign rolls out well?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. I feel like the first thing that always needs to happen more than anything else is okay, what is the goal? What is the desired goal of this campaign? Um, what is the desired action we want somebody to take? who is, who it's designed for, and really thinking through like kind of it sounds basic, but really just making sure you think about that at the beginning, and then that every single part of that campaign, it's going back to, okay, are we talking in the way that our ICP, talks? Is it in the right channel that they're actually in? Are we saying the right thing the way they need to hear it? That stuff is like, numero uno, because you can obsess so much about certain tactics and be like, we want to have this really awesome LinkedIn campaign. But if our customers don't hang out on LinkedIn and they're spending all their time on TikTok or Instagram, then cool, your campaign might be amazing, but no one's going to see it. So you really want to kind of think back to like kind of that first principle kind of thinking about it. Who is this for? And are we making sure we're messaging them in the right place at the right time and with the right messaging that they need and to actually hear?
Being able to truly know your customers and have that, dialed in of where they are and what they're care about with as we are just digging into my own landing pages, the language and the copy is on point and is working. I'll ask another follow-up question. I'm curious for Jessica, how you view it, because I'm always curious of other marketers, how they see social proof and customer content. Where do you see that best leveraged and used to help with conversions and improving the trust building, whether we want to use that term or not, in people's websites and marketing efforts?
I feel like you have an unfair advantage given that your entire business is tied to social proof. But I also think in general, like I've almost never seen a scenario where somebody has too much social proof,
Mm,
unless they are like doing like really shady, unethical things by like hiring people on Fiverr to be like their spokespeople and who've never actually used your product or your service. In that case, yeah, social proof, not a good idea. But for 99.9% of businesses that are running something that is pretty ethical, I've yet to see a scenario where someone had had too much, excuse me, has had too much social proof.
mhm.
I've seen quite a few examples of companies not having enough. Actually just candidly finished working up on a project where one of the things where they had about 25 CTAs on their homepage and
My
zero.
gosh.
And the first thing that we kind of worked on is like, oh, cool, you have all of this social proof and all of this other was amazing. Why are you not surfacing this on the page that the majority of your people are seeing for, which is your homepage?
Yes. One thing is I'm always leaning into, okay, where are video assets best leveraged, in particular, like video testimonials? And I follow a lot of really smart marketers out there and some like Sahil and, Patel, and also, her name is escaping me at the moment, but she is a brilliant lady who looks at landing pages. I can't remember her name, but, they both are talking about video on the putting it in your top section, I was always a fan of, but they found it can potentially cannibalize click-through rates if you have, like, that immediate call to action, unless it's about the product or about the asset, and I was like I really wrestled with that for a while, but, what I found out from those discussions of what they're digging into is, like, those are great assets, the video testimonials, etcetera, lower in those landing pages because as people start to dig into and they're not sold yet, they're not ready to click on that call to action, they want something to dig into. This video testimonial, then that type of asset is perfect. It's so good for it, for kind of that later stage in the funnel. After they watch that video, they're like, okay, now I've seen somebody, I've seen their story, and I can click on it. That's what we were trying to do on our landing page with those 6 different ones. I think we may have one not clear that they are videos, and potentially they're not yet overwhelming. It's like that balance of giving enough but not giving too much content. But at the same time, I like your point of like, can you ever really have enough, ever have enough social proof? It's more like having the right social proof for the right uh, buying journey at that stage, and then you can just kind of equip it in different places. But it's interesting to see where they can leverage.
Definitely just add to that. Maybe I should even clarify this a little bit more, which is you can never have too much social proof, but you can definitely have social proof in the wrong places. So
Ooh,
like
mhm.
maybe don't put it like if you have a pricing page, for example, and you're a SaaS, I work with a lot of SaaS companies. So if you're at a SaaS company and you have a video that's directly next or directly above like your pricing table, might not be the smartest move in 99% of cases. There might be that 1% case where it makes sense. That's going to be a bad idea. The other one that I've definitely seen play out where that can actually be a big issue is that if you are targeting multiple, if you have like a horizontal product or horizontal service that goes to a lot of different verticals, you want to make sure the social proof you have on the page, video testimonials you have on that page are the most similar to the person
Mhm.
who's going to be buying it. So if you have a product that, you know, can work for consumers, and also like enterprise buyers, you don't want to showcase a consumer facing testimonial to an enterprise buyer.
Yes. Yeah, and that's why I think some of the best executions is when you have industry specific landing pages, and then you can have those video testimonials and social proof on that landing page tied to that specific industry. I mean, that's gold right there. When it's dialed in to the right ICP, the right person, it's so good.
Absolutely. Such a good point. And you probably know that better than anyone else, given the type of business that you run.
Yep. I live and breathe social proof customer story content, and I'm excited always to talk about it. Oh, this is good stuff.
Awesome. Is there anything else that you want to add before we wrap?
No, I enjoyed this. This was really fun. So thank you, Jessica.
Awesome. Thank you so much.